Welcome to the Intuition Hour with Katt Nicholson, where our wonderful host Katt encourages each and every one of you to build your own intuition, navigate your own connection with spirit, and tap into the deep beauty within yourself. Enjoy the Intuition Hour with Katt Nicholson.
Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. Welcome to the Intuition Hour. I am your host, Katt Nicholson, and it is July 27th. I had to ask Serena, what day is it? I'm teasing. Happy summer continuing with all of you. It is definitely an interesting vibe. I'm laughing because I have to make a few fun announcements and sometimes I'm also looking into the room, and Tara said it best. She said, it's Tara and I have a new name on here and I'm making some changes as I was guided to. I want to say good morning to you, Patty, and good morning to my beautiful godson. I'm hiding today if you didn't notice, and that's okay. I'm definitely mixing it up a little because sometimes there is a vibe that I get. You guys know I love the limelight so much. No, I'm only kidding. I love the psychic energy sometimes of being a mystery, and I'm going to continue from time to time. So I wanted to hide a little bit. And when you're channeling or and of course, I'll come back live at another time. But, when you channel or you're getting messages and you're truly in connection with a higher power and you're kind of vibing on maybe something that you have to look for, or your intuition is really kicking off in a different way, and it looks a little weird, it gets a little weird, and so every now and then I want to maintain that, and I like being a little out there, and so I think you guys understand. I also believe that I think it's a kickback in some way. Good morning to all of you coming in. Let me say good morning to everyone. Tyler, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here. My godson is here today. Patty, Randy, Lara, Beth, good morning. Jane, you too. Lara, Tara, Maureen, hello. Be safe coming home. I'm so glad you're coming home temporarily. Randy and Suzanne and Laura, good morning to all. Tara said something, and so we'll get to the point. She said that she was guided to make some changes, and I believe that we are guided from time to time. We just know something is in the air and we're making some good changes, right? And so this morning you'll notice, and I'm given, of course, the great honor of announcing some changes going on with Mark Husson. And so I know you all adore him so much, and I'm sure, and I've gotten some, I've received some notes this morning that you're looking for him. And so there is a way to get in touch with him. He's leaving for now. And I want to say this, but he's not, because he's actually coming out into the public and onto some live streaming and some specials and many things without a regularity. I'm laughing right now over the sunflowers because they are beautiful. Serena, thank you so much. And they're moving, and I'm kind of getting the vibe and moving with them. And I'm sure everyone else is too. I love it. Couldn't be better, honestly. And they are in season, so it looks like it's going on out my back door. Anyway, so you can write Mark at 12house.com, or sign up. I should say it this way: sign up for his mailing list and be in touch over there. And the thing is this: he has a lot of things going on social media with you guys. He has some great sites, and he's definitely going to be showing more of himself in different ways. But for a long time, and when Taurus says, we're called to change. And so we are going to be changing some things for a little bit, and we're going to be coming in. I'm not ready to make any permanent changes here, but we are going to take little breaks in between, and then hopefully um come in and out with you in on special occasions and things like that. I'm not announcing that we're leaving, and Mark isn't leaving you. He's just doing things in a brand new way, and I feel that you'll gain a lot from that, and you'll also receive a lot more knowledge in ways that we can all really share our time together and each other and keep it spunky and alive and vibrant. And I think change is good, and it creates space for other things. And so look forward to him over on his channels. And Mark, if you're listening and if you're here anywhere, and if anyone wants to share, I'm not in Gemini mode today, so I'm not writing, I'm not typing and talking at the same time. But I want you to come and share where they can be watching you and stuff. And I know you're getting followed all over the place. So I'm wishing you great blessings and luck and love in your changes on YouTube. And of course, everyone, again, it's 12house.com. Mark will do different things. And remember, and Lara brought something up. I guess we're going to take a trip down memory lane to honor some times in our lives. And I'm sure all of you, this is still, we're in that shadow of that retrograde. We're coming into this Leo. We're in this Leo season now. I definitely feel the vibes. We're coming up on a full moon in Aquarius, which I would love to talk about, because I definitely think here's my double statement. I think it's a thinker, I believe and I know that it's a deep thinker, and I also know that it's unique and unusual because we can. And what I want to challenge you all to do is to create something new and unusual for yourselves as individuals. And of course, challenge yourself to just do a little something different. I think the air signs love the changes. I also think that we can get, a little batshit crazy if we don't go along with the changes that are being called to us. And I also believe that during this time, it's kind of nice to feel rebellious, or to feel like you have a voice, and not only for yourselves, but your beliefs and others, and the things in the world that maybe we're afraid to step into day to day. And I do believe that it's important. I'm watching a lot of changes going on with people that I love, because they too have had to step into a higher level of power, or feeling empowered about speaking their truth and speaking their minds and things like that. And so I think at this time and coming up to this full moon, what is that? Tara said that's exactly why I changed it. It's time to show up more with my gifts. It's time to get the ball rolling. And that's very good. And offering your gifts in a way that doesn't feel, none of us are superior to each other or to others on the planet, where it's like all for one and one for all, especially in this community. And so I do at the same time believe, though, that we can learn and grow from each other in other ways, as well as maybe branch out a little bit in new ways. And doing both is always good. It's also important now with this Aquarius cycle. Yeah, Tara says, come out, come out. Come out, wherever you are, to meet the young lady who fell from a star. I think stepping out for the whole, as well as that individual rebellious mood, and really being one with it, but also stepping out for a cause. What do you believe in wholeheartedly? And what are you going to share? Where are you going to share yourself with the world? And how are you going to be connected to a bigger picture, or perhaps even a purpose or a calling, to help others. And I feel this is the time. The spirit of generosity is strong right now. I do believe that as well. And I also feel like there's so much division in the outer world that it's really, really nice. I've seen people speak up and unfortunately nearly lose significant something significant just by speaking up or speaking out, or just saying too much, in the world, or having a belief system that, you go ahead and put it out there, and then you're blocked out of nowhere, or you're totally disconnected from a community that you were once connected to, and things like that. And that's a very, very difficult time, and that's a very difficult, we're in that place in the world. And so I think you guys know what I'm saying. It's time to be more you. It's time to share more without fear. It's time to get involved more, without really, we don't have to know every single thing. We could trust something bigger than us. And in this great big universe, such an Aquarian vibe to think of us as a big universe. We don't have to, um, one day at a time, like Tara just changed the Moss Fairy Oracle. We love that. What are we we're what is your mindset on changing it? How does it feel, from now forward? What are you hoping to gain in that way from changing your name? Do you have a plan, or are you just gonna wing it? I think, sometimes I always say, fling it and wing it. And there are other times in our lives that we want to really have a plan. There's no real rules to the game, and I think we're realizing that more and more. When we have faith in something bigger, when we have faith in something higher, anything is possible. And I think that creating change, like, honestly, I think even Mark creating this change, and kind of, we could see now that, okay, so we gather together at a certain time of day, and now Mark is no longer going to be with us on a regular steady basis for long periods of time, but he certainly will be with you day to day, and I know that you'll see more and more of him in different ways. But that change itself is like, okay, well, what does it do? What does it bring here? How does it feel to be in that change and be a part of that change? I think sometimes it's so uncomfortable. I know for myself, I'm so used to you guys piling over from a show that I don't really know what to say or do until we get involved. We really acclimate to something that's not an anchor anymore, or to, it's like being out there, and really, but it also, in another sense, it can bring us together as a community and really start doing things. Tara says, one step forward, one day at a time. The goal is to start doing readings for a living more than I am now. I'm ready to come out. I love hearing that. Who else? Who has a plan for the full moon? I have to be careful because I do love the Aquarius energy, but it's also sometimes, I have to rein in the air. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I say go for it too, Tara. Who else has a plan? Who else feels the changes afoot? I know Serena does. I know many of you do. Lois, I don't know if you're still here. Jane, you too. I'm going to come in the room and start taking some questions, but I think you all get my point. I think change sometimes is good. And I also believe wholeheartedly that it creates something that may have never been possible. And I think we get so used to things being a certain way that we don't realize the bigger picture when we're going through it. And I know we like to kick and scream for things being the same, but I think change is good. And I think the Aquarius energy helps us realize that. So who's here? Who has a question? Let's take a look up top and see who's first. I definitely feel a bit lighter. I don't know about you with the retrograde being over. Um, I actually celebrated this one. I know many of you did and have, but I definitely feel a little better with the Leo energy and moving closer to this moon. I do think it's going to be crazy. Change is coming for all of us. Time to embrace it. So Quelly's changing. Who else has some changes to talk about? Because the only consistency that we can expect is change in our daily lives, and I believe that too. And so, but it is, I mean, I say this as a Virgo rising, but you guys know this. I mean, we thrive on change and we're afraid of it in some ways. But this energy with the Aquarius full moon coming and everything attached to it is really going to encourage us to embrace the change. And it's okay to not have a game plan just yet. We can, we could become more guided through, um, of course, seeking guidance and advice from someone else, but also through listening to what our God, like God, your higher power, whatever it is that you're having this amazing connection with day to day. And so, and sometimes uh, there are other pathways that open up because you're willing to make that change. And I believe that's what Mark's trying to teach everyone by making these changes. So we'll definitely get into this a little more as time goes on. And Quelly, good luck in your new position. I actually love that you're doing this. I also want to ask you this. I don't know if it's a lateral position, but I also feel a climb like and so what I see is you standing on a pad, let's say a block. You're standing on one block. You go next door to the other block, but then you climb up. So to me, I don't know if this can get you in a higher position from this place, but I do believe that. And it may take some time to get to a higher level. If this was lateral and not going up, I see the arrow up. I feel like you're going up too. I just realized that. I feel like you're going to take a step up. So I love that for you. It opens other doors and new doors, and I definitely feel that as well. And I see it. I see you on an incline, and I really, really believe that you're taking a step up, and it's going to open you to a new world. And I love that. KM Karan, good morning. She says, I went on my shore vacation. It was exactly as you stated. Thank you so much for that. One friend political got into it with a friend. I'm glad that you stayed back and we had a little insight on that trip. I'm glad you're also returning. I think it's interesting this summer how our vacation time. I don't know. I mean, how does it feel? I think taking a break from the normal day to day could feel so good. And at the same time, it's a little more difficult to return, it's kind of a toss up. It's like part of us wants to come back and we're so rejuvenated when we get back into it. And then we're no longer rejuvenated because we're getting back into it and we have so much to do to catch up on. So it's like kind of a mix. But I think this summer, more than ever before, where everybody needs it. And I really do think it serves a purpose. When we leave our space and we take a vacation or whatever it is that we leave our day to day and we create more change, something happens in a different way or unique way, in a way that we don't see coming sometimes and it's always for the better. We can elevate and climb up. Um, and so I love that. It's like I had someone, I'm going to give you an example quickly, and then take some more questions. I had someone coming up to, they've been looking at homes, real estate, whatever, trying. they had lost so many different things, but at the same time, it really wasn't quite time, and it was always a reach, and it was always a stretch, da 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 da, da, and they were kind of like really hyper focused on it, hanging on too tight. Um, and I really believe that they went on vacation. I said, you know, they were afraid to take a trip. How many of us are afraid to get out of our comfort zone because God forbid we take our focus off of something we want and it doesn't. So what do you think happened? So that person left her regular day to day, went on vacation, wasn't paying attention, and suddenly the perfect situation appears out of nowhere. And so it's like watching the pot of water that doesn't boil. That's so seriously true, you know? And so, of course, the dream house appeared and da da da, and everything's going fine. But the point is, sometimes it takes us getting out of our own way to make things happen. And sometimes if we hang on so tight, things don't happen. And we don't want to believe those cliches, and we don't want to really because we don't want to let go of what it takes to let go in order to trust and move forward. And so and sometimes I'll say to someone, and I'll say this today to all of you, when spirit guides us and God has that message for you to surrender, how many of us will kick and scream? Sherry, I think you just did this actually, and you're rocking and rolling. Good morning to you. I'm sending love back. When we hold on too tightly and we don't surrender and we're not trusting, somebody says, oh, no matter what I do, it's not going to work. But I can promise you this, surrendering and trusting works. And things show up out of nowhere. And if you learn nothing from being on this journey, that is like one of the most ultimate truths. And so kicking and screaming is easier said than done to get there, but you get my point. And I'm seeing it more and more. Lois says, I feel like we're all inside the chrysalis right now, some more than others, personally, in between past, present, future, living in surrender. I love that, Lois, and thank you for sharing. And I believe that too. Randy has a question also, and I'll be back to you, Lois, in a minute. She says, I'm wondering your thoughts. I was pulling cards and the Six of Cups kept popping up. Whether pulling it, shuffling my deck, or bottom of the deck, I know it's around memories, nostalgia, some childhood fun. I also look at it, and it probably doesn't make sense, but hi, Michelle, good morning. I'm also looking at this as it could be the writer's. It's a publishing energy, you know, from a business standpoint. And it's a writer's energy. If you're putting anything out in the world and writing, that's a very good thing. But it's also a place of comfort. And comfortable meaning maybe in your environment, yes, your home, okay. She says it's, you know, about she says it's always coming up, and whether she's pulling it from shuffling her deck, the bottom of the deck. I know it's around memories. It is around, so it's about your childhood dreams or returning to something from your childhood dreams. It's also about something of a childlike energy as well. But what is it that comforts you? I like that card for comfort. What is it that brings you to that place? What were those happy childhood memories that keeps appearing? And are you writing anything? Because I do look at that as like a public, and I have no idea. I think this was an earlier divination, but has proven to be true time and time again. You have something to share with the world in the written word that can possibly be published in a certain way, either through your own gifts, skills, talents, or another's. Does any of that, are you writing anything? Are you journaling at all? It's like a sign too. She's not writing now, but she tries to journal and needs to be more consistent. I would be more consistent also. I feel that journal. I know this is also, I mean, sometimes it's fun if we color it a little bit, bring more color to it. So it kind of gives us a little motivation to get in there and make more of it than what it actually, or maybe what we think it is, because it's motivating to do. And I like to sometimes add some like even crayons, markers, paint, whatever. My journals are not really um just words on paper or and it's a very good creative energy, the 6 of cups as well. So I feel there's a lot of this coming through, and I think I see some doodling on that journal. That's good, and you should continue. And I also think you have something artistic in there too that also needs to come out, and I hope that helps. Um, on occasion, what about a childhood dream that really hasn't manifested yet, but I believe it will? I love it for children's books. I have someone in mind that's also writing a children's book right now, and that card pops up for everything. And so I do hope you enjoy and go in that direction, okay? All right, now let me see. Who do I want to come back to? Beth, hi, sweetie. She still hasn't found a job. She feels anxious and depressed. I'm wondering if I'm going to find a job I enjoy rather than just a job. You know, I'm really feeling like it's coming, but I also feel, is there something that you actually, what is it that you feel called to? I feel like you have a teeny tiny, like maybe you think you want something, but it's not within reach, or what would be your ideal scenario moving forward? Because I know you're employable and I know it's coming, but I also think she loves animals. I really, really believe, I know, I'm sorry it's not easy, honey. I really believe the right thing will happen for you. I do think it's gonna take a little more time. Have you made attempts, with the animals? Like, I don't, not really knowing, I know you have some limitations, but not a ton. At the same time, I feel like you would be great in a specific spot for even intake on animals for any kind of center or facility, or um, even somewhere in the community. Have you thought about that? Have you been looking for that? I think it's very possible and actually probable. What, and also, is there anything in you that would be able to house sit for animals or anything like that, or um, even like stay and watch someone's home? They're all set for now, but not always. She says they're all set with people at shelters. What about if someone leaves or something will happen? Something will click it in. I like it too for you. I could feel it definitely. And I also feel like there's more coming. There's somebody that actually will look at Rover but need to be licensed. I mean, I think that's a possibility as well. And sometimes scanning even things like, neighborhood, what is it? You guys would know what it is, the neighborhood watch apps, or, and what next door, or of course you have to be careful who you connect to and things like that, but these are all the things on my mind where you can look. Um, and I feel like something's gonna open up for you. I don't believe it's gonna happen overnight. I actually feel something good coming though, and part of me does believe you're gonna be happy with it, and I also feel like, I feel like you're gonna be interviewing for something and something else is gonna happen. That's how I see it playing out, and you come back and let us know. It'll definitely happen. Randy says um, her motivation's a little low, and it makes it hard. There is, um I think so. Okay, so I think it's been now that the I mean, it was a little low motivating. It was lower in July, I would say, the rest of July. Now we're coming into a much, I think, heightened time. I think this full moon's gonna bring something. And I also believe Randy, not just for you, because that'll kick you into a little bit of gear, but Beth, I think she said she keeps praying. I think that's a good thing. And I think and prayers work, however we say it. Whatever that means to us, it works. Everything has to work in our individual ways, our relationships with our higher power are our relationships that no one has any business telling you what it is or what it isn't. And it's so very important to know that and to continue. Um, Sometimes in a psychic sense or an intuitive sense, I think when we get sometimes in the psychic space, we can create and imagine certain things that we can envision, and it could help us outwardly that way. We can dream of something, we can manifest it, we say, we can pray for it, we can really, really believe that it's going to happen and put it out there to allow it. Like, how do I say this? It's an outward energy, the psychic energy, because we can envision it, we can listen for it, we take action about it, and it really truly makes a difference. But when we're in the intuitive space and when we're talking about the intuitive energy, it's more of a definitive, incoming, say a God message that we can't deny or ignore. And I feel like there's an entrance and an exit, but it's all really an incoming and outgoing. How many of you have really considered, and I don't even know, this is probably like very Aquarian thinking, but how many of you have really thought about what's incoming and what's outgoing? As far as your messages or as far as like really putting it out there for something, because we do have these channels. And so I think there is a difference. Somebody says to me, well, what's the difference between the psychic space and the intuitive space? What's the difference? And we think about these things and we talk about this because these one hit wonders, really, Edgar Casey says, even back to him, or going that far back, these one hit wonders that really come in that cannot be denied are really our intuition being more specific than actually something we can create, envision, maybe manifest, dream up, or whatever it is through our clairs. And so sometimes because our clairs can bring a manifestation of what's on another plane within us, and we can sometimes help make it happen, where if we're in the intuitive space with our higher power and with God, that's something definitive that comes from something we can't touch or feel. And so and we want to put it out there for that. And so there is a difference between our incoming and outgoing. What about you, Tara? How do you feel about that? We do have both highways moving, you know what I mean? And so I feel like we forget that we have incoming and outgoing traffic, so to speak. Who can relate to that, and who has an idea of where and where how many of you are having incoming traffic, so incoming messages, and how many of you feel like it's outgoing? How does that make sense to you? I don't even know. This is definitely coming through because I'm actually using the psychic space to create the highway that I'm seeing coming in and out, and I'm intuiting what's coming out us through another channel that is really meant to be heard. And so we have an entrance and an exit, so in the same field. And so I think that it's important to determine and to divide or to separate where our information is actually coming from. And we have to believe, I know when we believe it, how does it increase our chances? Somebody says, "It doesn't matter. How do you feel about this?" Does it matter if you believe or not believe what's gonna happen? Because I do get a little kicking and screaming around that as well. It is Tara, Beth says she gets the incoming messages. Tara, how about you? It is a little interesting, Patty, because it's honestly true. Our dreams are another way. All of the channels that we connect can become a piece of ourselves and our values and everything we're bringing into the planet because we have accessibility in a much more unlimited way than we've ever imagined. And sometimes, as uncomfortable as it is, even announcing Mark um, and his leaving, and I'm saying it this way. He's only limiting his showtime in a larger amount of time with you to give you more that packs a punch in the best way. And even with that being said, even that tiny change, it could throw something off, or perhaps it's like, it's I don't want to call it destabilizing, but it's also like, okay, now what? I'm so used to everybody coming in from Mark's show. We're doing something different today, and so what happens is we have to find that intuitive space that comes through the change or comes through um, whatever is going on in our external world. And so we do have these highways and we do have this incoming and outgoing. So Randy says she's been noticing some incoming messages. She always does, she doesn't fully understand, but she tries to be open. I believe remaining open is the most important place. Tara has both sides. I think we all do. And if we look at it, because there's something very specific about what about those one hit wonders of Patty, I'm coming into you in a minute. What about those one hit wonders? How many of you have been told something or it just happens to come in out of nowhere and you know it and you're listening and you hear it and you, for some reason, you're like, no, that can't be true, and you try to fight with it. You ever fight with your messages, like, back and forth? This happens sometimes. Or you say something and you go, I don't know why I said that. These are all intuitive hits. All of us have so many unlimited gifts. We can't even fathom it. Our dreams, our symbols, our nature. What else? Everything God created in our universe is a message or can bring a message to you. The TV, the radio, and we can't forget these things. It can come from anywhere at any time in any place, and we forget over and over again how very blessed we are to be able to have access to such an enormous universe. And I do hope that rings true for you, and I do hope you never forget these things. Now, Tara says, having kids especially, we don't need to communicate out loud. Both sending and receiving are strong. Susanna's absolutely both. She hadn't realized it earlier in life that it's been happening all the time. It's so true. And everywhere. You could start your journal. So Tara says many times she's realized after the fact that she's been given the message before. It's funny when we're caught up in some kind of drama or something like this. I guess because I have an Aries moon, and I know some of you fire moons can relate. I think the more the stress, the better the messages sometimes. If it's too peaceful, I can't really. I'm like, oh, do I have to look for this? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't hit me in the head as hard. And I love that with all of you. That's why when we're in a stressful situation, I want to listen, and we're on a call or it seems to be a crisis. It's the messages are on the spot to mirror that crisis, like to give the answer, like it's a God-given thing. And so it happens very quickly. When we have space and time, we can create and, use the psychic space a little more and envision a plan. And that works as well. Like it's just it all depends on where it's coming from. So Corinne says the day her son hit in trouble. Wait, did you say the day my son hit in trouble? Okay, I saw 2 snakes in my yard. Yeah. Some people believe that snakes are and it's a change indicator for sure, but some people believe that it's trouble. For myself, the day Monty passed away, when I look back, I one of the first things I said when I came home without Lulu is, when I looked at the boys, I said, "I don't know if Monty wants to be here without her." And I realized I said it out loud. And then that day, a bird flew in our house for the very first time. That was the first time in my life I think I had a bird in the house and, ever. And I thought to myself, "Damn, I know that's Lulu." And that night, Monty passed. And so we do get these crazy signs. But it's all because of the creator that happens to be the master of all of these amazing things that we have access to as human beings. And this is really what Aquarius energy. Somebody said to me recently, "Oh, I don't know about that Aquarian energy." Aquarius energy is some of the most psychic and amazing energy on the planet. And it can also be very, very random and unexpected. It's full of surprises and it's full of acknowledgement of a higher power. And it's also for the people, it's also for the purpose of the planet and for the purpose of the highest good of all. And it brings kindness and a lot of this, even though sometimes you'll catch me saying it's very fresh. I'm surrounded by the energy. And it can be very fresh, but it's also a good fresh. Um, Patty says she needs to be better about seeing the signs in the moment and not after the fact. I think that's where the highways come in, the psychic energy and the intuitive energy. I think it's very hand in hand and yet consequential. When we are meant to know, we know. Sometimes things are under our nose and we're actually not meant to know. And we forget, even an intuitive, as a psychic, and everything after 40 something years of talking to you one on one and being with you in that space, there are things, and I will say it now, I can look ahead much easier than I'm in the now because I can't. Sometimes I have to really, and I've learned how to do it, of course. So it took decades to do this, but you have to differentiate what is in the now against what's ahead. And you have to differentiate given when do you surrender it to a higher power to help you see what you really need to see against guidance is great when it's not taken away from what is meant and what isn't. And so I love that as well. Tara said shortly before she lost her pregnancy, she hit a robin on the highway. She was so upset. She knew it was a sign. Yeah, sometimes we just yeah, Beth said the bird in the house meant death. Yeah, I knew that day, even though it wasn't quite out loud in the way that it should have been. It really was in my face out loud. Patty says her husband has the opportunity to change positions. Can you give me your husband's first name? We could take a look. It would mean less work, which we can absorb, but would be a better work-life balance. But he's hesitant. Mark. Do we have a time frame that we have to decide this? Because I'm with him on it, and I don't know why. And I hope, I feel like he's not. Oh, I like that day, August 7th. So does he get to stay in his position currently if he doesn't take the lesser? Good, because that's where I'm at. Okay, she says it'll come again in January. I like it better. Here's the thing. I don't think he's quite there yet. I'm okay, good. I'm not there yet. I feel like he's not, and I know this sounds like such an it's really just a visual, of what I'm seeing that's not, and I'm all about like positive change for all of you, of course, in certain instances. I don't feel like he's ready, and there's a method to his madness of resisting it because I don't I almost feel like a shrinkage in a way. You don't want to make yourself invaluable in a different way when things are the way they are in the world. Um, I feel like he needs to stay put temporarily. And I know that there is less balance, but there's a reason that this is happening, that he's hesitant. You know, that get another cliche. I'm talking about a lot of cliches today because they prove to be true over and over again, as much as we like to resist them as humans. I want to say that when in doubt, wait it out. He's smart, and I'm with you, Mark. I mean, I think January is better. Now, if some rock hits him on the head in the middle of the night on the 6th of August and he changes his mind, I'm good with that also. But I'm saying it would be best for him to sit tight in his position, and I hope that helps. Um, we have to believe that January is right around the corner because it is. And I feel it's going to be better for him then. I think it's a little premature. I'm sure he's hungry for it in some way, but I don't want him to shrink himself yet. I'm not, it's not a shrinkage when it's right. You know, when the timing's right, it doesn't feel that way, but right now it might. And I don't know, Patty. I would love to give it to him for more balance, but it's not time yet. And there's a genius in his thoughts. He's definitely smart. It's I don't even want to put it out there that it sounds shady, but yeah, not yet. Okay. All right. Who am I missing? Kat, it's so nice to see you. It's been a nice long summer, but the hubby goes back to work, so I get to hop on the radio, and lots of love to you. I'm happy you're back. Who am I missing? I know Lois had to surrender uh, a lot in the last few months, and I also believe I think once we get in the groove of it and we get proper guidance, I think it all works together, you know. Life is a big puzzle. Mindy, good morning to you. It's so nice that you're here. I'm glad you get to listen as well. I don't know. I feel 3 weeks again that you'll be working again. And I do have that. That's another thing that's loud and clear. I do believe as early as Thursday, you'll hear what's today. Where are we? Oh, we're only Monday. I believe within the next 4 days or so, you'll already start interviewing. But I think it's going to take about 3 more weeks. Okay. And I do hope that helps. And let me just think about something for. I don't know why, Mindy. I'm seeing a lot of books on shelves, like a ton. It's almost a library, but I don't want to say it's a library. I can't really see that happening with you, but I definitely see a lot of books. And so hopefully that will help. All right. Deborah says, any Deborah, I see a little upset, like a little bit of a gastritis. Do you have an appointment at all with the doctor? I do believe it's okay, but I really would rather you go because of, um, she says any messages regarding my 14. I do see a little bit of, um, a spot of tissue that looks irritated. So maybe we give it another day. Th I think the too many treats is true, but it's like a little gas it feels I can't diagnose or give medical advice in this way, but I have to advise you to see the veterinarian. At the same time, though, I do think that we're okay, although, um, I wanna make sure there's no, um I just feel a little rawness in one spot, so I wanna make sure that's okay, like something to coat the stomach and soothe that a little bit, and it'll heal, of course, but we just wanna make sure. I don't really feel safe saying, "Let's give it one more day. If you see no more symptoms, great, but make an appointment just in case," okay? Alright, I hope that helps, guys. Um All right, everybody, thank you so, so much for being here. I'll keep you posted on future events and things like that, and we'll come back and I'm going to be with you as much as possible. And yeah, I think that I don't feel good about saying no. Corinne, I see that. We will get into it next time. I promise you. Serena, thank you for being our producer. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. Stay cool and happy full moon, okay? And don't forget 12house.com for Mark. Bye bye, everybody.